Hey guys, The Fate of the Furious, aka Fast and Furious 8, aka Fast 8, is the latest of the high-octane franchise, and I was lucky enough to see it a bit early before it hit theaters. Now before I begin, I want to let you know that there will be spoilers in this video, but that will be after my grade. I will give you my full review, give you the grade, and then I will get into spoilers talk. I will let you know before I get into spoilers talk, so if you wish to avoid them, you can. Now if you're unfamiliar with the franchise, where have you been? But the story of the 8th installment is that Dom has gone rogue and started working with Charlize Theron's character Cypher, who's like this cyber terrorist sort of thing. So he started working with her, and it's up to the rest of the crew as well as The Rock to eventually find out what he's up, why he's working with her, and stop them. To be completely honest, I didn't go into this film expecting a whole lot. I really wanted the film to end at 7 with the death of Paul Walker. I thought that was a nice send-off. Everything was pretty much wrapped up really nicely. There was no need to continue the series or the franchise. Of course, they continued it anyway, and I really wasn't enthused to go and see number 8. I figured they really can't replace that character. What are they going to do story-wise from here? And I was completely surprised by this film. It was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I would even go as far as saying it's the best Fast and Furious film since Fast 5. Fast 5 is easily my favorite of the franchise. I would say it's pretty high up there, ranking somewhere among the top 3 with the original Fast and Furious and Fast 5, but definitely doesn't overtake Fast 5. Fast 5 is hands down the best of the franchise. This film had plenty of laughs, heart-racing action, and way more drama than I anticipated. Everyone's performances were actually really spot on. They've done great as they've done great over the past 8 films. Everyone, Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, The Rock, Tyrese, and Ludacris, all do not disappoint in this movie. I did, however, feel like they tried to put Scott Eastwood's character in there a little bit too forcefully. They tried to put him in like the new Brian role now that Paul Walker is departed. I feel like they really tried to retrofit his character in there. He essentially plays a junior agent working with Kurt Russell to help the team essentially aid the team in helping to stop Dom for whatever mission he's on. But a lot of his characteristics, things he says, the way he acts, kind of feels like they're trying to make that new Paul Walker character, that new Brian character, to fit into the dynamic of the group, but it just felt really weird and I didn't really like it a whole lot. As for Charlize Theron's villain Cypher, I feel like Charlize Theron actually did a really good job. I'm not a big fan of Charlize Theron, so her being in the villain role kind of worked to her benefit in this particular instance for me because I'm not a big fan of her, so I didn't really feel that really connected to her, and seeing her as a villain was very off-putting. That really wasn't the case. But she did play a really great villain, and I would even go as far as to say one of the better movie villains we've seen in quite some time. The story, though, is where it really gets interesting. This story was something that I didn't really expect. Again, I didn't expect a whole lot. I thought it was the perfect ending in Furious 7, where Ryan sort of rides off from the sunset. Everyone sort of goes back to their lives, essentially. They're no longer international criminals, they're no longer international spies, I guess, whatever. I felt like it was the perfect ending, and they really didn't need to continue it. But when Furious 8, Fast 8, whatever you want to call it, Fate of the Furious came out, I didn't expect a whole lot from it because I felt like the bow was already on Furious 7. It didn't need to continue. But this franchise really had a breath of fresh air in it. The story that they interjected into Fate of the Furious brought this breath of fresh air that's really going to continue. What I'm assuming the plan is that it's going to continue until 10, and that's where it's going to end. But I really like the story that it's sort of set up. They didn't necessarily need that Brian character. They do mention him a couple of times, but I don't want to get into too many spoilers here because I'm going to talk about it in a few minutes after I give my grade. But I feel like there's a breath of fresh air in this franchise, and the story that they're going with, I actually kind of liked a lot, and I think it's really interesting moving forward. I also thought the directing of this film was really good. The director, F. Gary Gray, who actually directed Straight Outta Compton, did a fantastic job. But actually, this shouldn't have surprised me, because he also directed one of my other favorite action films / car driving films, and that was 2003's The Italian Job, which actually also stars Charlize Theron and Jason Statham. I really have to commend the team for this 8th installment. They did a fantastic job. They really brought this breath of fresh air and reinvigorated the franchise that I was dead set on just believing that it was done after Furious 7. but they somehow created a new storyline that actually brings a lot of interest to me, and for that reason, I have to give The Fate of the Furious an A-. I'm a bit surprised that I went so high with my grade on this one, and I don't expect every single person to agree with my grade, but I just think that this film really figured out a way to course correct itself after the death of Paul Walker, not trying to like CG him in every movie now or anything like that. They just really course corrected that, and they figured out a way to make the franchise exciting despite losing one of its biggest stars. Alright guys, now it's time for some spoilers. I really don't have a whole lot to cover, but there's definitely some drama stuff that I need to talk about. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is not only Jason Statham's character back, but we momentarily get a return of Luke Evans' character, who plays his brother in the franchise. He was the bad guy of Fast and Furious 6, so he makes a few-minute return, which is actually kind of fun. And in addition to that, Helen Mirren's character is actually their mother, which was kind of a surprise. I did not see it coming when they cast her. When the big announcement that Helen Mirren was going to be a part of the Fast and Furious franchise, I did not see that coming, but I did see it a little bit coming, maybe just a few scenes before it was officially revealed in the movie. But I thought it was a great reveal, something that was kept pretty well under wraps, and I didn't see the connection until it got close to that reveal in the movie. But by far the biggest spoiler that we have to discuss is the reason why Dom goes rogue. And the reason why Dom goes rogue is he actually has a secret son that he actually doesn't even know about. But he finds out when Charlize Theron's character Cypher sort of reveals it to him. And he has a son with none other than Elena, who was introduced in Fast and Furious 5. If you remember, Elena is Elsa Pataki's character, who was a Brazilian police officer who sort of has to catch Dom in Fast 5. They end up having a relationship towards the end of Fast 5 in through Fast 6, or Fast and Furious 6 rather, until the return of Letty. But that isn't necessarily where the drama ends. To add more fuel to the fire, earlier in the film, before we find out about Dom's secret son, Letty is sort of teasing Dom about having kids. Now, this is kind of messed up to me because just a few scenes later, he has a secret son with another woman from a previous movie. Not that Dom and Letty can't have their own kids, I just think it's kind of messed up that they have a scene where Letty's talking about having a kid with Dom, and then just a few short scenes later, after Dom goes rogue, we find out that he has a secret son, and that's why he's going on this crazy mission for Charlize Theron's character. That's just kind of messed up. I mean, Letty really wanted to have kids with Dom, and all of a sudden he has one with another lady from another movie. And then there's still the baby's name. Now, it's revealed in the movie that the baby's name, Elena has been calling the baby by his middle name, which I believe she says is Marcus, if I remember correctly. But she's been calling him by his middle name, and she believes that Dom, the father, should give him his first name. And it's not till the end of the movie that it's revealed what Dom has decided to name the baby. And the name he decides to go with is Brian. This, again, is kind of messed up to me. Not that there's anything wrong with calling the baby Brian, but Brian is supposed to be alive still in this franchise. Brian and Mia are supposed to be retired from all of this Fast and Furious stuff, off having their own life with their own son. And actually, I think they had another baby on the way at the end of Furious 7. They're supposed to be still alive. So I get it that they want to add Brian sort of back into the franchise, reinvigorating his character, maybe a phoenix from the ashes type of scenario. But he's supposed to still be alive. It's cool if you want to name your baby after your best friend, but everyone in the theater went, "Aw," when, the baby's name was Brian. I feel like it would have been just as good to name the baby Paul. Have that sort of be different, but still acknowledge, the fact of Paul Walker's death. But then again, Vin Diesel's real life daughter is named Paulina after Paul Walker, so I guess it sort of was a back and forth. Could have been named Paul, could have been named Brian. I guess either is fine. I just feel like it's sort of weird to name the kid Brian when Brian is still alive. They mentioned him several times, and it's just sort of weird that Brian's now a baby as well as an adult who they may mention every once in a while off who's off doing his own thing. It's just kind of a weird scenario, in my opinion. I feel like the kid should have been named Paul, but that's just my personal opinion on the matter. So guys, those are all of my thoughts on The Fate of the Furious. If you have seen it, or when you do see it, be sure to let me know what your thoughts are, as well as where it ranks among the Fast and Furious films for you down in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to hit that big subscribe button as well as that notification bell, as I have several videos upcoming. I have a couple of trailer reviews, I have some Netflix reviews coming up, a bunch of stuff that I have planned on rolling out very soon, so be sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when those come out. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You really are the best, and I'll see you in the next one.